Good morning. I'll just take a moment here and make sure that we're live and give time for everyone to log in who's going to be watching us and joining us today on this adventure to talk about both self-betrayal and soul indulgence. So I'm Lauren Drake. I'm the creator of the Soul Indulgence program. It's for women who are ready to access the evolution that their soul craves. And I started this program because time and again I was talking to women and I was learning, that there were these common pitfalls that we find ourselves in. And so I'm going to take, like I said, just another moment here to make sure that everyone's able to log in who wants to be here and join us live. So let me know if you're here, put it in the chat. If you're watching in a replay, let me know in the replay, just hashtag replay so I can know who's a part of this, who resonates with this message. So I want to talk today at first about self-betrayal. And as women, this is something that is so rampant. I think we're taught from an early age to betray ourselves. I think that we, as little kids, when we start feeling emotions, if we feel anger or we feel jealous or we feel frustrated, we're taught both by the words that are being spoken to us and by the other women around us who model these things for us that we're just supposed to be nice. We're supposed to be nice. We're supposed to take care of everyone else. That's what it means to be a woman. And that is fundamentally flawed because that's not true, right? We are biologically wired to have emotions. We feel things, and there's a reason that we feel those things. It's our body's main way of communicating with us. But when we're taught as children that those things aren't okay to feel, we learn to not trust ourselves. And when we don't trust ourselves, what other choice do we have than to betray our true selves? So I want to share a little anecdote that comes from Glennon Doyle, who is just the best. So she talks about if you took an experiment and there were 10 children and 7 of them we gave red shirts and 3 of them we gave yellow shirts, and we raised them in the same environment, and every day when they would come to the table for a meal there would be 7 red chairs and 1 yellow chair. And so all of the children who had yellow shirts on could come to the table. They knew they had a spot. They could take their time. They knew that they would be fed and they would be okay. But the children with the yellow shirts, sorry, I think I'm messing up my colors here. The 3 children, right, who had the yellow shirts, they would come to the table and there was only 1 chair for the 3 of them to share, for the 3 of them to fight over. They knew that there was only going to be 1 meal. They knew that there was only enough resources for 1 of them. And so they would fight with each other. But when they would fight, all around them they were told, you can't fight. You can't be angry. You can't hit one another. You can't feel anything but being kind to each other. And so they learned to put on a fake nice face, right? And then they grow up that way. They grow up feeling like all I can do is be nice, but really inside, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off that there's less resources for us. I'm pissed off that we're not treated as equals, right? And I say this story here because I think this is like a prime example of what we are exposed to right from the get-go, right? That we see this being modeled out and we feel it and we're being taught this. And when we distrust our instincts, well, guess what else we distrust? We distrust our bodies because it's our bodies that are giving those instincts for us. And so we have this almost like visceral distrust for the instinctual responses that are coming from our bodies. And then we're exposed to all of this societal messaging about what our body's supposed to look like and how it's supposed to move. And so then obviously we're going to feel fundamentally flawed, fundamentally wrong. And one of our deepest fears is to be unloved, is for everyone to leave us, for us to be alone, right? This is biologically wired in us too. right? If we're left alone, we're going to die. We need other people. We need a community. We need a support. And so, from this place of distrusting our instincts, we learn to distrust our bodies. Then, when we start to enter the working world, how are we supposed to make any appropriate gauges about what we really want, right? We're going to make our decisions based on what everyone else wants. And also, this is replicated in our relationships. And I think the relationships is the piece that can be the most both damaging, but it can also be the most transformative. I just got off the phone with a client who was talking about this, and she's navigating a divorce, and she was reflecting on why she even started to be in this relationship when she didn't really want it. If she's honest with herself, she knew she didn't want it. But what was clear is that this is what other people wanted for her. And she thought, well, I can make it work. I can do it. This is what everyone else wants. This is what her husband wanted. This is what her parents wanted. This is what her community thought was a good idea. And so she did it. And I hear that story, right? And the thing that I love about that story is it talks about two fundamental cores of every woman that I've ever met. You're strong, and you're so capable of love, right? And so even in this story, this strength, right? Like, well, I can make it work. Shit, yeah, you can, because you're a woman and you're capable of doing hard things. And you care so deeply about what everyone around you feels, right? When you care so much about what everyone else feels, of course you want to figure out a way that everyone's needs can be met. And you are capable of doing that. But the problem is there's too many needs. So when you're taking care of everyone else's needs out there, you're not taking care of your own needs. And then one day you wake up and you realize that you're not living a life that's right for you. You're not living a life that lights you up. You know, and when I talk about soul indulgence, right, I'm talking about how do you live a life that just like effervescences your soul, right? I'm sure that's not a word, but I'm going to use it today, right? It's about living this like the lusciousness of life. Can you imagine living a life where you are so aligned with what you want in your relationships, in your work, in how you feel about your body and how you treat your body, in how you show up in the world and how you trust your inner guide, your instincts? Like that sort of power is transformational. And I've seen it transform women. And I've seen that this is the answer, right? We've been living in this world of self-betrayal. And I want to move us away from that, right? I want to move us to soul indulgence. I can't even count the number of times I've talked to a woman who says, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to meditate every day. I need to read the books. I need to journal. I need to take a bath every night. I need to. We know the list of self-care things, but we aren't doing it. Why? Because we are professional self-betrayers, excuse me. And if we have a list of the things that are the things that we need to do, sure, we can do them, but it almost can function as just like another to-do, right? Like, oh, here's more proof of like what a failure I am right now in my life because I can't even manage to meditate and run and journal and yoga and whatever every day, right? So it's not about that. It's not about what's your list of self-care. This is about how do you move into soul indulgence in a way that just is, it's like once you hit it, it's like there never was another way, right? This is about like living your life in a way of just like embracing the lusciousness. Like this is our one chance of being alive, right? And so I want to offer you today 3 things that work. And the first one is so simple, right, that it just always gives me a little giggle, right? So it's just ask yourself what you want. So when I work with women, I do this. I constantly ask, well, what do you want? Right? And I constantly, I ask this verbally and I ask this in writing in this welcome packet of all these questions to encourage you to dig deeper in your life. And so frequently, I want to say 75% of the time, the response I get is, wow, I haven't been asked that question, or gosh, that's a big question. When really, it's the simplest question, right? What do you want? right? And so if you're able to ask yourself that question, you can write it down. You can talk to yourself while you're driving or in the shower. You can just think about it sometime. Really ask yourself what you want, because there will be clarity there about what it is that your soul is longing for. And once you get clarity about what your soul is longing for, then it's a whole lot easier to put the plan in place to get you there. The second trick is listening to your body. And so this works easiest when you have a decision in front of you. And so if there are two paths, right? And so again, often talking with women around relationships, right? Should I stay? Should I go? Right? Should I bring this up? Should I not? Should I have children? Should I not? Should I go for this job? Should I not? You know, if these sort of if and questions, asking yourself, well, picking one of the possibilities and really sitting with it. Well, what does that feel inside? And be as curious as you can. Like, even if you're like, it feels bad. Well, how does it feel bad? You know, one of my favorite metaphors that a client used is she said it felt like snakes were tangled up inside of her. And I just think, oh, that just hits you, right? Like once you can, if you can find a metaphor, so you know, okay, well, I don't want that snake feeling. So when I have two options, and one of the options makes me feel like the snake's tangled up, that's not the option for me. You know, I've also, you know, some people describe it as like a tickle, right? Like, so sometimes they don't even both feel good, right? They can both feel bad, but one of them feels like a tickle. Like there's some little more energy there, as opposed to feeling just like dread, right? Or like the shutting down. You know, one might feel like heavy, right? And the other is light and effervescent. I love that. The final thing is find support. Find a guide who's been through this, who knows how to navigate these things so that they can help you do that more efficiently. And so I am offering now a new kind of service, and these are complimentary sessions, and they're called soul expansion sessions. And this is a conversation, it's a brief conversation where we'll sit down for 30 to 45 minutes. We won't sit down in person, it'll be virtual. And we'll start with what it is that your soul is really longing for. And we'll identify what the obstacles are that are in your path. And then we can create a customized plan to get you to where you want to be, get you to that soul indulgence, which is really the life that you deserve to live. Right? I want to say you're destined to live it, but you're not necessarily destined to live it. You deserve to live it. It's up to you to choose that path for yourself. And then if we feel like we're a good fit to work together, I'll tell you what it's like to work with me. But there's no obligation. There's no cost to these sessions. It's an investment of your time and my time and you for us to cultivate this plan together. And so if you'd like to do that, you can message me directly, or you can sign up on my website, laurendrake.com. And so I'm signing off for today. I'd love to hear how this sits for you. I'd love to hear what your soul is begging you to indulge in. And I'd love to connect, as always. All right, bye.